Okay, go.
Alright, hi guys. Welcome to West Side Story.
Alright, baby, talk.
Hey, we're gonna try that again.
Say hi. Say hi.
Alright guys, welcome back to West's Side Story. Hey, check this out. So today I got my 99 Ford Ranger out here, the XLT 4.0 liter. Okay, and it's having a overheating problem. Let's see, try to get it in there pretty good for you. Anyway, so it's having an overheating problem. So we're gonna take a look in here. I do have a thermostat that I'm gonna put in here, and we'll be showing you how to do that as well. So, all right, let's get it cracking. All right, so looking down in here, you can tell this is a radiator hose, and it goes over here, and you really can't see that. Hang on, let me lighten that up a little bit for you. All right, so if you look down in there, you see that neck right there, right there. That holds your thermostat. It's right there in the front of the engine. So we're gonna be taking, it looks like probably 3 bolts loose, but first we need to get the air intake part out. So it looks like an 8mm right there, 8mm right there. We'll go ahead and pull this part out the way. All right. All right, so I got these loose. So they come loose here and here. There is a hose here that you're gonna disconnect. Just like so. Well, it came out a little funny, but that's okay. And we're gonna unplug what I think is the intake air temperature sensor here on this one, because that is your mass airflow sensor. All right, so now we pull that loose and this will come right off. Check that out. Yeah, all right. We'll just set that over here to the side. And so now if you look, you can actually get down in here, right? And that looks a little rough, but there's a bolt down here, way down in there. And there's one right there. I'll try to get a good shot of where those holes are as we do this. So there's your coolant temperature sensor if you ever need to know where that guy is. So after that step, what I like to do is completely drain the radiator. So I'm gonna go, so we got the top hose over here. Oftentimes your other hose will be on the opposite side and down. So most likely that hose is gonna be right there. All right, and that looks like a really tight fit, but that's okay. We're gonna get that sucker off there and drain it into my pan. They do have drain, like a drain on these somewhere, but I just like to unplug the hose. It's so much easier to do it that way, in my opinion, because it drains quicker and it drains better. So, all right, let's get that done. Oh, and that's also an 8mm. So 8mm all around so far. All right, and one other thing, just have a big enough drain pan that will catch all this antifreeze. Antifreeze will kill dogs, it'll kill small animals that drink it and things like that. So just be aware that you're pulling poison chemicals out of your truck. Make sure you have bottles and jugs and stuff you can safely store it and take it off to the dump or somewhere. Dispose of it properly is what I'm saying. Thank you. All right. Now, while that's draining, you can be trying to take the top off, which is up here. And those bolts down there look like 10mm bolts. So there's one there, one under that cup, and then one right there. So 1, 2, and then 3's under that. Alright, so as you can tell, I did use some liquid wrench and sprayed on there. If you guys are going to do that, just be careful, don't get it on that pulley or your belt, because it will make this horrible squealing sound going down the road. So you do not want the belt to slip, and plus it can prematurely wear your belt out. So just be aware of that as well. Alright, well, you missed that fun. I used several extensions with my I used several extensions with my air ratchet, and I actually ended up getting it stuck in there. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. Let me show you what ended up working in the end here. Alright, so a deep well 10 actually worked really good for the bottom bolt. See, they're just little itty bitty things. 10mm. Alright, I put this together with my air ratchet, and I actually got those stuck in there. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Be very careful, you don't want to break none of this. But as you can tell, I do have this free now. Alright, and there is the thermostat. Alright, so what we're going to do is kind of fish this up out of the way for now, like that, right? And we're gonna see if we can grab this thing. Might need a pair of pliers to pull it out, something like that. Probably need like a plastic scraping tool. So alright, let's get that done. I'm gonna pull that out now. Alright, so there we go, we got it out. But if you look down there, there's like a bunch of gasket material that's still stuck to the engine there. We got to get that out, clean this up as much as we can down here. But here's the new one. There's the old one. I went with the fail-safe Motor Rad one. OE supplier. Let me see, is there a part number? There's the patent number. Oh, here we go. Alright, there's the part number, guys. So this is what I'm going with, so I won't have to worry about it overheating again, hopefully. If it gets too hot, it'll make itself stay open. One thing that you can tell here, look how much more this one's going to open than that one. Like, it looks like this one's a tiny little opening, like little itty bitty, and this one's going to be bigger. So I'm probably going to run cooler with this one also. And another note is that this groove up here, you want to make sure that your bubbler, which is the thing there in the top that's moving, that's called a bubbler, you want to make sure that that's in the very top. So when you put it in, it goes in like that, straight up and down. Alright, so let me get that gasket material off and we'll try to get this thing put in. Alright, so once you plug it in, put the thermostat in, remember your bubbler goes at the top. Alright, and you're ready to put your 3 bolts back in. Alright, so do that. And even if you want, now that your radiator is drained, you can go ahead and put your hose back on, but make sure to remember to do that. Alright, I'm going to button my top up first, and then I'm going to put my hose in, and then I'm going to add radiator fluid. So that's my steps. Do it as you want, but make sure not to leave your bottom hose undone. Alright, so there we go. I got her button back up there. Now, what I got to do is go back under here, and I'm going to button up my under hose. Now, let me tell you guys that you will have to use an assortment of long extenders. I use this too, but basically what I'm saying is you'll have to find your own combination. That bottom one, this is what I came up with to get to the bottom bolt real easy. I didn't get stuck. It came out. The top bolt, I used this one, and then the second bolt, I'll just use my long one. So this would be the top bolt right here. The middle bolt's over there. That's the one you need, the long one, unless you remove this shroud, which you could do with 8mm. So that's completely up to you. And then the other thing, I kind of fished under this belt to reach that very bottom one that you can kind of see right there. See it? It's right there at the tip of my finger. Alright, so that's the 3 that you need. Remember, the thermostat goes in pointing up like that. Alright, and then you button it in. That gasket should seal that. So now, I'm going to crawl back under the truck here. Crawl back under the truck, and I'm going to button that hose back there. So that's what I'm doing now. And that's an 8mm. Alright, so there we go. I got it tightened back up on there. Just make sure it ain't gonna come off. Everything should be good. Now you will want to check this for leaks while you're putting your fluid in. So be mindful of that it might still leak. So put your little tray back under there. Alright, let's see about putting some antifreeze in this thing. Now, if you didn't already, on this 4.0, my little cap right here was right here. So here's where you fill your radiator fluid. Remember, make sure your hoses are all connected. You got this all connected. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and put this back on before I actually go any further. Alright, so now I got this clamp back on. I got that clamp back on. So remember to hook up your sensor. Hear that snap? You know you're good. And then remember to put your hose back in here. Good deal. Alright, so everything's put back together. Now all we do again is we're gonna add some radiator fluid. Alright guys, so here's where you get your antifreeze. I just went with the AutoZone Extended Antifreeze and Coolant. It's universal. It mixed with all the other ones. The instructions here, you can read them, basically say that you can mix 50-50. So that means that this is concentrated antifreeze, and it won't hurt nothing if you put, you know, 2 of these in and then 2 things of water. So that's what I go with anyway. Alright guys, so here's a secret for you. If you pour this, grab the handle and tip it straight up and start pouring from this side, it's gonna chug and spit, all kinds of stuff. But if you do it sideways, like out of here, then it'll pour straight and clean. Alright guys, so when you get it to where it looks like it's full, now what you want to do is crank the vehicle. So it's not yet full. You want to crank the vehicle and get it to operating temperature. As it's doing that, it'll bubble. And while it's bubbling, you pour more antifreeze down in it. So I'm going to put the lid on this one and I'm going to crank it. It's safe to do that, but you don't want to run it like without putting the additional antifreeze in it. Alright, now you just watch it and wait on it to drink fluid. I do recommend safety glasses because the bubbles will spit antifreeze. See if I can get this on camera. See how it bubbles and it drinks it? You want to keep doing that until it stops. You're basically trying to get the air out of the system. Alright, it might leak some out, but that's okay. Perfectly fine, it won't hurt nothing. You come in here and look, see, I'm not even up to temperature yet. Alright, so I'm going to get it up to operating temperature and we'll see what happens. So it's going to come up and down for a minute here. Now you got to remember that that cap's normally on that and won't let that happen. But basically there's all kinds of air in there that's trapped. So you can come over here and like squeeze your radiator hose. See how that's bubbling out by me squeezing it? That's another way to get the air out of your system. But basically you got to heat the truck up so that thermostat opens and you get fluid all in the system. So that's what I'm doing now. See those air bubbles? They're coming out of it. It's starting to drink it. Starting to drink that fluid because it's forming up. So you got to do this though. If you don't do this, you'll be going down the road and overheat anyway and be like, well, still trying to spit out bubbles and the truck's almost up to operating temperature. Oh, there it goes, it drank it. See? So that means my thermostat just opened. I gotta start adding stuff. Alright, I'm at operating temperature. I just added till it was full. I'm gonna show you at operating temperature right here. So see? Perfect. Alright guys, sorry about that. The video cut out. But basically that's it. All you do from there is put your cap back on your radiator fluid and go for a test drive. Just ride it around wherever. And so that's been another episode of West Side Story. I hope y'all have a great night. God bless.